Hello, everyone, and welcome to Economics and You. I am your host, Mr. Samuelson. The last time we were together, we talked about the size of the American government and how it has grown so big. Today, let's look at what it actually does with its size. What is the function of government in relation to the economy? Well, the big one is providing public goods. Public goods include public goods and services, and people can use these public goods without reducing its usefulness to others. Think streetlights in this situation. My usage of a streetlight does not take away from anybody else's usage of a streetlight. My usage of a highway does not take away from your usage, and likewise for large infrastructure programs like bridges. These are things that we all use and we all benefit from equally without taking away from others. And the government's goal is to provide the types of public goods which improve our society as a whole. This is a major function of the American government. Now, this ties into our very founding document, the Constitution of the United States, and our goal to promote the general welfare. The goal of this country, outlined in the preamble, promoting the general welfare as one of those major goals. And many people simply don't earn enough money to take care of their own welfare. Okay, that is a reality of our society. When people don't earn enough money to survive, let alone thrive, the American government steps in to make sure that there is a bottom to keep people from falling even further. Or as this cartoon shows, to sew up the cracks in our society so people don't fall down and get totally lost. Americans as a whole have repeatedly decided throughout history that it is a good idea to redistribute some wealth from the wealthiest to the poorest in order to put that floor. Now, there's a lot of disagreement on how much wealth should be redistributed, but general consensus that it is right and proper that some is. Social insurance programs are a big way that we do this, that we provide for that general welfare. Now, several government programs exist for this purpose, to keep Americans out of absolute poverty, to make sure that we don't have people living on the streets with no other options. One of those is Social Security. Social Security is a system that provides monthly payments of money, cash, to retirees and to some others who are unable to work. This cash infusion is able to keep people from absolute poverty. They will always have enough money to provide for basic needs. It is not intended to keep anybody wealthy or make anybody wealthy, but it is intended to make sure that you do not starve to death and you do not have to be homeless on the streets just because you're now 80 years old and unable to do your job. Now, workers' compensation is another one of those. If you are hurt on the job, a job-related injury, there are programs that you can apply for that will get you some or even all of the money that you were earning so that your standard of living does not collapse until you have recovered from your injury. Likewise, there's similar programs in place for unemployment. If you unexpectedly lose your job, not if you quit, but if you unexpectedly lose your job, you can apply for unemployment benefits. And for a set period of time, usually about 26 weeks, the government will give you normally about half of your paycheck to sustain you through that period while you are looking for a new job. Now, there are other public assistance programs that are sometimes lumped together as welfare programs. These are programs such as SNAP, which is Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, formerly known as food stamps, to make sure that people have basic healthy food. There are programs that help parents find jobs to support their children. Okay, parents who are working are much more likely to raise children who are successful in life than parents who are out of work. We know this to be true, so we invest government money in helping unemployed parents to find jobs. Another one is Medicaid. Medicaid helps to pay the healthcare costs of low-income and disabled people. We don't want the sick to become sicker. That would not be a benefit to them or to our society as a whole. And so Medicaid is set up to provide healthcare to those who truly, honestly cannot afford it for themselves. This is a sizable chunk of American spending. Okay, welfare, including Medicaid, takes up almost 20% of all government spending, but it is a expense that our nation has identified as being worthwhile. So regulating economic activity. The government's role here in direct intervention in business is really four things. Four ways that the government functions to make the economy better are to protect consumers, to make sure that businesses are not cheating us. There are actually rules put in place. The Office of Consumer Protection will look out for that. They also will help settle labor disputes. If a union and an employer cannot reach an agreement and it's resulting in both the business failing and the employees not having any money, it's in the interest of everybody to get those issues resolved. And so the National Labor Relations Board will step in and help to settle those disputes. Another one is to promote competition. We do want to make sure that businesses are competing with each other instead of cooperating, because that helps keep prices of their goods low and the quality of their goods high. When businesses stop competing and they start to cooperate with each other, they tend to increase their prices while not worrying so much about the quality of their goods. The final one is regulating the side effects of production. An example here is the Environmental Protection Agency. We don't want companies that are making goods dumping toxic waste into public water supplies. That is not good for anybody, and it is one of the major functions of government to make sure that that is not happening. Additionally, our government helps to ensure economic stability. Economic stability is sometimes required, government needs to jump in, to protect people from business fluctuations. This includes high unemployment. Okay, if we've got a period of high unemployment, the government will increase spending on programs where it's hiring a lot of people or paying businesses that are then hiring a lot of people. Also, high inflation. If inflation rates go up, the government needs to take steps to decrease the money supply, and so the Federal Reserve will step in and do that. Also, if we're in the situation of a recession or a depression, we're going to dramatically increase government spending to make up for the lack of spending in the private sector and kick our economy back into gear. Now, not everybody loves this. Not everybody loves that the government is involved in our society in all these ways. And some disagree with specific interventions. Some disagree with intervention as a whole. Some believe that we should have lower taxes, far lower taxes. And if we have much lower taxes, then people will have more money. And if people have more money, then they can pay for these public services. We can turn them into private services. Schools can be privatized. If we have lower taxes, we'll all have the money to pay for private schools. If we have lower taxes, we don't need public roads. We can have toll roads, and we can pay to use them. And similarly, if we have lower taxes and we want to go to museums, we'll pay for our own entry to museums at a higher price. It'll cost more, but we'll have more money because of low taxes. These are all free market ideas, limited government ideas. Let's get the government out of the business of maintaining museums, roads, and schools. When the people who use those services, well, they'll pay for them. These critics really want to see an expansion of free market practices and are very, free market oriented. They don't want to pay for anything that they are not using. All right, so that was today's lesson on the function of government, what it is our government is doing with all of our tax dollars. I hope you learned something today, enjoyed the lesson, maybe just a little bit. I'll see you next time. Farewell.